We know big tech silenced the Hunter Biden laptop story before the 2020 election. Now, ahead of the midterms, the White House is reportedly putting a staff together to fend off potential Republican-led probes. According to the Washington Post, two staffers are getting paid more than $250,000 to oversee responses to subpoenas and responding to congressional investigations. And the media still is trying to spin the Hunter Biden story after reports surfaced that Hunter would face criminal charges. An opinion piece in Politico argues it will help Biden. Now, I want to go to this particular quote, if we can put that up, by Jack Schaefer that was in Politico. The president should, after shaking off natural parental gloom, allow himself a moment to celebrate the political gain he stands to reap in the wake of a Hunter Biden criminal justice misfortune. A Hunter Biden indictment and prosecution would demonstrate the integrity of the Justice Department. That is such an interesting question.
So much here.
that's such an interesting question, or rather statement, Jackie. And, you know, this would normally be a bombshell report, what's going on with Hunter Biden. We've not seen much light outside of conservative media. We're finding out that they're ramping up to pay staffers to defend the president and potentially Hunter Biden, because a lot of those subpoenas will be around Hunter Biden. Is it normal for the press to ignore such bombshell allegations and what we're seeing with a potential indictment for Hunter?
It's outrageous, but we have seen this time and time again where left media will just turn the other way, ignore that it's happening. We have known about the Hunter Biden laptop for so long. They didn't want to acknowledge it until it came to a grand jury investigation. And finally, some reporters walked it back and finally said, OK, we'll acknowledge that this is actually real. But there's so much here to dig into. The fact that they're paying staffers to do damage control essentially on this, that's our taxpayer dollars going to that. And when it comes to the Jack Schaefer comment, a Hunter Biden indictment and prosecution would demonstrate the integrity of the Justice Department. If the Washington Post article is true and if charges are brought, they would be failure to declare income from his foreign business deals and a failure to declare that he was a drug addict on a gun application. What about the business deals? What about actually what transacted in China and in Ukraine? And what about the president's involvement? This is not a win for the Justice Department if it goes forward like this.
But that's the whole thing here that I find so alarming is that, and so many people have said this is what they think the tactic is. It is these minimal charges relative to these bigger issues, obviously, and these huge questions that have national security implications, Jackie. Like you just said, people are supposed to take this as a big win. Oh, well, we've got the Hunter Biden situation all wrapped up because likely if this is all he's facing, some tax crimes and an illegal gun, there will be some sort of a plea deal. And then we can just say, well, this matter is over and let's not worry about Hunter Biden anymore.
And to that point, can we play that Trump song?
We don't want bad stuff to happen, but they're leaking that couple of minor charges relatively compared to the kind of charges that they could be. And that's up to them. But are they actually going to do the right thing and hold the Bidens accountable, or is this just a charade and an excuse to continue targeting me and our movement of Make America Great Again and America First? I don't know.
Now, Sean, I think he made a really great point there, because I think there's a lot of people questioning the fact that it's taken so long in this investigation. Charges hasn't been brought yet. And now you got some on the left saying, yeah, maybe this would be a good thing. Could it be a hidden language that they're using? Maybe this would be, hold on one second. Maybe this would be a good thing if they indict Hunter Biden and then go after President Trump. So then they could say, oh, this isn't political. We already went after the president's son. We got integrity in the justice system. You were prosecuted for 10 years.
But the problem is that they're going to guardrail these charges, right? So they're going to have, whether it's tax crimes or a gun crime, they're going to keep it away from Joe Biden himself. That'll be the intent of the Department of Justice when they charge Hunter Biden, if they do charge him. But going back to Republicans, listen, you don't want to dance on a powerful politician's son who is a drug addict. He's an amateur porn star. He's committed crimes. Yeah, it's embarrassing, but that's bad politics. The reason this is a big story is that Hunter Biden is tied to Joe Biden, right? And we would not have in the House Republicans investigating this issue unless it tied into the president, and to you guys' point, that Joe Biden was making money off of Hunter Biden's foreign dealings, which means he's compromised. And so what Republicans will have to do here, the White House is going to push back hard on this, but Republicans have to subpoena documents and witnesses. They have to hold the administration in contempt if they don't comply with those subpoenas. And then if that happens, we have to prosecute, right? And we'll see how pure the Justice Department is to see if they'll prosecute Democrats who don't comply with the House, like they did with Republicans who didn't comply with the January 6th investigation.
Yeah, that's right. Laura, has the DOJ made any more movement since they raided your father-in-law's?
Well, it's been elevated to the level of the Supreme Court at this point by my father-in-law's team, because he wants transparency and he wants people to have confidence in exactly what's going on. And, I think that's what all Americans should want on all accounts, no matter who the individual is. But, Sean, I'm glad you said that about nobody wants. And I can say this as a member of a former First Family. I think it's terrible when the family of a president or someone in a major position is targeted. I think that is always a bad thing, and it's terrible to see. The difference here, as you point out, is that Hunter Biden is tied directly to Joe Biden as the big guy.
Yeah.
And there's China, and there's Russia, and there's Ukraine. And there are major concerns that we have as American citizens. Is our president compromised? And
That's
no
right.
one has been able to answer those questions. That's the problem.
And to that point, let's play Jim Jordan.
In 2016, they spied on President Trump's campaign. In 2018, it was the Mueller investigation. In 2020, they suppressed information about the Hunter Biden laptop. And now in 2020, they've raided the home of the former president, taken the phone of a sitting member of Congress 91 days before an election. So when is the FBI not going to involve themselves in one of our elections? That's probably a key question. We're going to do everything we can to hold these folks accountable. And if we have the majority, bring them in front of Congress, do the depositions that need to be done so we can get the facts.
Now, Sean, they can do all the hearings they want, but the FBI has to still cooperate. The IRS and any of these other agencies, they have to cooperate. And they're now under the leadership of Joe Biden. So do you think we're going to really get something done if Republicans take the majority in the House?
I think what's going to happen is Republicans are going to hold money back if they don't comply with the subpoenas, right? If they don't provide the information that the Congress requests, the power of the purse belongs in the Congress. They'll hold cash back, and money speaks in Washington. And so I do think they're going to get compliance at some point. Now, they'll try to drag their feet. But again, all of this effort is going in because Joe Biden is afraid himself. He's afraid for his political career. He's afraid about the money he's made from his son. And therefore, he has to hire big people to come in with big salaries at taxpayers' expense to protect his political hide, not to protect his son.
And he should be afraid because we're not going to let up.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.